Recently, over the last 10 years, on October 16th, 1995, the false prophet Louis Farrakhan gave a call out across America for all Negro men, black men, all men, nothing but Negro, nothing but black men, to come down to Washington, D.C. And there in Washington on the 16th of October in 1995, as the day was enjoying, they were going to seek God for the plight that was plaguing the Negro. More than 100 years, 150 years had passed since slavery and the Emancipation Proclamation, and the Negro was doing worse in 1995 than he was doing in 1895 or 1865. Poverty. There were more jails and prisons since 1960. There have been more prisons built and more Negroes in jail. Nowhere on the planet do you have as many men in jail as you do in America, and they're Negroes, all Negroes, 1.2 million Negroes locked away in jail in this modern day and time in which we live. Homes are being headed by single parents. Women, fathers have ran off from their children. Before the 1950s, every father, every home had a man in it. But this recent time that we are now incurring, women are raising children by themselves because the Negro man is nowhere to be found. And then there was the killing of Negroes, black on black crime, Negroes killing one another. Farrakhan said, let's go down to Washington, come together. Doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. Let's come together as one and try to defeat what's going on in the masses of the Negro nation. And 1.5 million Negro men. The Parks Department said there was only 750,000 men down there. Those are the people who ride on the horses and count heads as they go along. But I'm here to tell you there was more than 1 million men down on that mall that day when Farrakhan gave the call. And the historians tell us, and I know for a fact, that they prayed and preached. Jesse Louis Jackson was there. He spoke. Alfred Charles Sharpton was there. He spoke. Charles Rangel was there. He spoke. Cornel West was there. He spoke. A host of Baptist and Methodist and Pentecostal preachers were there, and they spoke. Then finally, Louis Farrakhan spoke, and not one word came from God. There's not been one building, one college, one school. There's not been one bank. There's not been one. In fact, there's been more shootings by police of Negro males since the March on Washington than before. And put Amadou Diallo in that group. They haven't gotten better. They didn't come back from Washington with power, with strength to change their neighborhood, build banks, supermarkets, and schools, and rise from the bottom of where they were before they went. In fact, they sank lower after the Million Man March because God said to the Negro there in Washington, I don't know you. I'm not speaking through any of your leaders. You don't have my power. That's why you're at the bottom. God made it clear in the Million Man March. You can't deny. You can't point to one positive thing. Not one. Not one. And had Negroes of every persuasion down there in Washington. Yet God didn't honor them. When Moses went up on Mount Sinai, when he led Israel out of Egypt, and then Moses went up on Mount Sinai, God spoke and Moses came down with the commands of God written with the finger of God. God thundered on Mount Sinai and the fire and the smoke went up. God spoke to the nation of Israel. But at Washington, under Farrakhan and Jesse and Cornell and all these jigaboo Baptists not knowing God, there was not one sound from heaven, not a sound up above their heads. There was no music in the air. Not a sound on that day. Not one sound nor sign which said that all those men don't know God and God does not know them. And so it is. And perhaps certainly not singularly. One of the reasons why, well, we know the reason is very simple. Jesse Lewis, Alfred Charles, and all the rest, and all those Baptists and Methodists and others went there, have never anywhere at any time been in the presence of God, whose name is Jesus, though they are pastors of churches. But it is indeed a fact that Negroes tend to disavow. When Malcolm X, who was in the Nation of Islam at the same time that Farrakhan were, they were similar in age, similar in stature. In terms of positions, Malcolm was the national spokesperson for the entire group, led by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But these two were competitors for the attention of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the world leadership status that was given, and Malcolm had it at the present. And there was a conspiracy concocted against Malcolm to pull him down. And so it was. And in the process of destroying Malcolm, these so-called black Muslims with their bow tie wearing, shine shoes and white shirts and black suits and their Muhammad speaks, these men, under the cover of night, at midnight, went to Malcolm's home out in Laurelton, lit a Molotov cocktail and threw it through the window of his little girls, two of them sleeping in the bedroom. They were little girls, 5 and 7 years old. And these men who called themselves religious leaders threw a firebomb into the bedroom of two little girls under the cover of darkness, and then ran like dogs down the street after they threw that firebomb into the bedroom to burn the house and kill all of its inhabitants. Just a few years earlier, a group of Ku Klux Klansmen on an early Sunday morning at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. Before the major worship service had gotten started, 4 young girls were attending Sunday school. And they went from the main auditorium down into the basement area to get prepared for Sunday school. And 4 Ku Klux Klansmen threw a bomb through the window of the 16th Street Baptist Church there in Birmingham. It went off and killed those 4 little girls. My friends, I want to tell you something. I don't see one scintilla of difference between these Ku Klux Klansmen that threw a bomb into the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, or these 4 Nation of Islam black Muslims that threw a firebomb into the home of the little girls out in Queens. There's not one scintilla of difference. They're both cowards at the greatest degree. Yet Farrakhan wants you to follow him, and Negro men to follow such cowardice. He's a coward, they're cowards. And if your pastor went to Washington, he's a coward. And if he went there, you can know for sure that he doesn't know God and God doesn't know him. You should demand he leaves the pulpit now. If he was a part of that Washington crowd, a part of following a man that would bomb little girls while sleeping. Do you want to know what it is to wake up at 12 o'clock at night and find your daughter's bedroom on fire? You have any idea what that's like? Or somebody who would do something like that? Muslims, Farrakhan. That's who did it. Yet he wants to stand and say he's a leader of black people.